Yes. All right, can folks online hear us? Thumbs up, Bob?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Great, thank you.
Welcome everybody to the CDYCI meeting 9 a.m. Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. This meeting will be streamed live on CDYCI's YouTube channel. The first item, welcome, roll call, and our guest members. Albany County, William.
Here.
Kristen.
Here.
Rensselaer County, Laura.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
Saratoga County, Susan.
Here.
Craig. Here. Schenectady County, Gary Hughes.
Absent,
Absent. Samantha.
and she's on her way.
She's on her way. Thank you very much. And our guests are today.
Luke Jacobs with Berkshire, or Together for Youth, formerly Berkshire.
Do I now need to change that tent card?
Thank you.
Yep, you're gonna need to get a new tent card.
What is it now?
Together for you.
Together for Youth.
Oh, that's.
And online we have
Bob Ryan from
Yep,
Parrot
Ryan
Beach.
from Paris Beach.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
Good morning.
And we have
Stephanie Thomas, policy analyst from Albany County Executive's Office.
thank you, Stephanie. And we have two that showed up. Samantha Miller from Schenectady, and we have a guest. Also,
Raymond Wilcox, Facility Director.
and well, thank you very much. Okay. Number one is satisfied. Number two, we have an action item to approve the April 17th, 2024 minutes and closed.
Yeah, Q4 23 payments have been paid by the counties and proceeds administered through Together for Youth. Those who came late, Berkshire Farms' new name is Together for Youth. Okay. Q1 bills are just finalized now. There was a exceedingly long and boring process of settling bed days.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, I got lost in my thoughts there.
kind of things.
So SD expenses through May are just over 2 million, and SSD expenses through May are estimated to be 3.1 million.
Do I have first?
For the.
Financial statements
For
through May 31st.
item 3. Financial statements through May 31st, 24th.
Make a motion to accept that.
Okay, we have the first, we have second. Thank you, Susan. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Hearing none, it passes. We're gonna go then back to item 2. Approval of the April 17th, 2024 meeting minutes. Do I hear first?
Make motion.
Mike, thank you. Second,
Second.
thank you, Kristen. Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any questions? Hearing none. Okay, I got that. I stopped. Is there any nays? Hearing none. It passes. Okay, we're kind of jumping ahead now. It's item 4, which is the approval of the second amendment to operating agreement, the memo to page 411. Mark?
Yes, the amendment to the operator agreement adds obligations related to the education program, a reference to the educational agreement that we'll take action on next, and updates Berkshire Farms Center for Services for Youth to its new name, Together for Youth. Board actions requested to approve the second amendment to the operating agreement.
Thank you.
Another question. What was the need for the name change name?
We changed the name, because we've been around for 135 years, but we're not just located in the Berkshires.
Yeah.
We're not a farm anymore. We're not a center, and we serve. So we thought that a name change to better represent what we do would support.
Well, I agree with the analysis. I don't know if I agree with the name, but I agree with the analysis. Thank you.
Is there any further questions? Anyone else? Hearing none, do I hear first? Laura, thank you. There's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Yes,
Aye.
yes, hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Item number 5, approval of the agreement related to educational services. Memo 2412.
Yeah, so it's been a long road to get to this agreement, but I'm pleased that I'm able to present it to you today. Thank you to Luke and his team and the folks at BOCES for getting down to brass tacks in terms of the scope document. A couple challenges pulling this together is that BOCES can't directly contract with Berkshire Farm as they can't contract with another provider if they themselves are a provider. So that was one thing that we had to settle. So the contract is primarily obligates CDYCI to be on the hook for the educational program expenses and all that kind of stuff. The agreement roll maps in Together for Youth to administer payments due to BOCES from CDYCI on behalf of CDYCI. So CDYCI doesn't have sufficient cash flow to be able to pay BOCES quarterly, but Berkshire, in terms of rolling it into the operational expenses, will be able to pay them directly at the close of the quarter. One thing that's significant related to South Colony's, retirement from the education program is that the costs of the education program are going to be borne by the counties or the users of the facility. Previously, South Colony would charge back the home districts of the youth. And so there would be relatively no cost to the operations budget of the detention facility. But now all those costs are going to be included in the operations budget of the detention facility. South Colony and we were informed by the state education department that what South Colony was doing was not legal or was not appropriate according to the statute. So this change at role mapping in BOCES to provide the education services and bringing it in line with what the current statutes require will mean that those costs will simply be part of the operations budget. Do you have a ballpark of what the education program budget is going to be?
So we don't have everything yet because we are still working with the tech. The dollar figures that we had put in for staffing are much closer than, they're pretty close.
Okay,
So, but we are still working on the tech. Our IT department is meeting with BOCES IT department every couple of days to get that booked.
so is it $400,000, $1 million?
I would say right now we're looking between 600 and 1 million, but I'm going to let you hold that together when we have all the information
Okay,
finalized. The agreement with BOCES is that we will have a final budget and what they need by July 1st. So they're going.
Okay. So the agreement also specifies that BOCES needs to provide us with a budget early enough before the turn of our fiscal year for us to be able to approve it for the next fiscal year. So this is the first budget. It's going to be conservative, which means it's going to skew high. The budget's going to get us at least 4 teachers, including a vocational program person. It'll include the technology needed to run the education program. Berkshire Farm is going to provide an administrator that's going to bird dog all the educational related materials from each student in the program, IEPs, et cetera, et cetera. One other thing that will change now that BOCES is running the program is that BOCES is not a diploma granting entity. So they can't convey high school diplomas. So we'll have to partner with a district that can grant diplomas should students want to pursue the Regents track or graduation, as opposed to the GED track.
Who's gonna pick up that? Who's gonna do it?
We don't know. South Colony, said they would likely be willing to do it. However, the person that said that is retiring.
Right.
So we need to figure out, I don't think it's gonna be a big lift, but we'll be able to figure it out.
So then I assume that in the appendix there, one where it talks about the four teachers, you're saying special education, English, math, and a teacher with experience and other certifications would be the vocational teacher?
They're gonna provide what they can provide. We also, in our budget, Berkshire will be hiring a vocational specialist. So if they have a vocational teacher, we'll have two to work together because it's gonna be a big lift, but we will be providing a vocational specialist regardless.
Any idea what vocation you're looking at, and will it apply to both guys and gals, or just?
Oh, yes, yeah, we're gonna have, what we are looking at is multiple curriculums, particularly, virtual reality curriculums that can be done, and online curriculums that can be done for vocational training. When the build is completed, capital project is completed, there's a very large new classroom that will be used for vocational training.
Okay, we'll be advised what those vocational.
Oh, yes,
are
sir.
later.
Yes, yes, we're gonna be working through that curriculum with folks.
Thank you.
And the new kitchen will have theoretically prep kitchen islands so that potentially students could do some culinary vocational training in the existing kitchen after that project is completed.
Yes, it'll be a teaching kitchen.
It's a big lift. We'll get there. Is there any other questions? Addressing this? Okay. Hearing none. Do I have a first? Laura? I hear a second.
Second.
Kristen? Thank you. Do I have any other questions? Hearing none. Do I, yays?
Aye.
Do I hear any nays? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Okay, item number 6. The SCOC minimum standard evaluation. Memo 2413, Mark?
Yep, this first evaluation happened last summer. It's been ping pong back and forth between Together for Youth and SCOC in terms of Together for Youth's responsiveness to the questions that SCOC posed in their inspection. There are a couple open items still. I guess they're still pending another site visit in terms of the log books. So you just want to give an overview of those open
Sure.
items.
They had some questions about how we were handling log books and population accounts, which were in line with what OCFS does, but not what SCOC does. So we sent them the procedures we wanted to do to comply with their regulations. They agreed that our procedures look good. Now they need to do a site visit just to confirm that we are doing that. There are two open items in here that we are still in discussion. The first one is about where logbooks should be placed in the world of corrections. There's a logbook in every room because the staff stay in the room and the inmates come to them. We do not do that in detention. Our staff move with the kids, and so we bring a logbook with us. This is still something we're discussing with SCOC, trying to figure out if we need to do a waiver or how to move forward, because it would be very cumbersome on staff to have to walk in and write in every logbook every time they enter the room, especially when we change classes in classrooms and things of that nature. So we're continuing to work on that. The second thing noted that is open is keys. That we need to bind our keys on our key ring so that no one can take them off. That had previously not been done. So we have purchased the equipment to bind keys. We're actually starting this week, but we wanted to make sure we waited until we had worked with our new key vendor for the new keys for the capital project so that we could do it right. And so we have all the equipment. We're starting to do it now with the new keys. So that will be taken care of. And the other items will just be reviewed when they come to see we're doing what we said we were going to comply with.
So the key part is part of, I know you focus, which part of the security stuff overall, and
Yeah, overall security so that nobody can so every staff has to turn their keys in at the end of a shift, but this would prevent anybody from taking a key off for any reason during a shift. And with the system we have, the new system with door controls, our goal is to use keys almost never. It would only be an emergency use keys because of the control we'll now have over the doors. It's very helpful. We'll have to have them for emergencies, but we won't need to.
Any other questions?
I have a question. What are the other secure detention facilities doing about the walk-ins? You must have similar movement of kids throughout their facilities.
So a couple of facilities feel like we do, that they shouldn't do it. Some facilities capitulate and do it, and are complaining that it's a lot. Every time you walk in, the staff have to go over and spend some time writing before programming can begin. Take staff on. So we're going to continue to work with SCOC. If we have to do it, we will do it as needed. My next step will be to try to submit a waiver. You know, since the regulation won't be changed, that maybe on the back based on how we operate, which is just very different from a correction center.
Right.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, then let's go on to item 7.
So this is just the documentation from SCOC setting the maximum facility capacity in preparation of the turnover of Pod D. It's a conditional certification because SCOC will require a variety of punch list items before they'll allow occupancy, including an occupancy permit. They'll have to walk through the facility, the sheriff's office will have to sign off on it. And a whole bunch of other things, just to make sure that it's ready for youth to enter. Anything else you want to add to that, Luke?
I think there's also a lot with programming, as far as training and how we're going to make sure that we move into the facility appropriately. Mr. Wilcox has submitted all the appropriate paperwork.
We are way ahead of our schedule for Pod D. We have 100% compliance with all the staff. They were able to do at least 2 to 3 walkthroughs of Pod D area. That's including staff, supervisors, and administrative staff. So we're way ahead. And the only thing that we're currently working on right now is our control panel, which opens all the doors. That's a heavy task, but today and tomorrow is our last training, but that we've been doing that since last week. So we want to try to get everybody that's part of the security team and the supervisors, administrators on board on how to operate such a big task. So today and tomorrow is our last training, and then we'll be complete and we're ready to move in.
Explain to me a little bit on how the control panel works. Overseen by an individual who's.
It's a series of tubes.
It's a little different from what we had for the past 20-something years, but it controls every door in the facility.
And who's controlling this? I mean,
We have a
somebody
security staff.
that's watching it, pushing buttons, letting them go from one to
Yeah.
pretty much like.
Since they installed the new one, we've had 2 people in there, because it's such a big task and it's something that's new. So we've had one staff member answering the phones ahead of times. And then we have another person that's paying attention to the control panel. So that's been working well. We've been kind of testing it out because for 20-some years, we've had just one person in there. So we like the idea of having 2 people in there. I think we can, it could be a smooth transition to the shift.
And the control panel there's cameras in every room, every area of the facility.
Every area, not in the rooms.
Not in the teaching rooms? I mean,
in the kids' rooms.
No, you're not
Just
interested
in
in
the dorms, yeah.
just in dorms.
It's always,
We'll be going from 62 cameras to 130 cameras.
And classrooms, okay.
It's quite a change from where the facility was in 2016, when I think there were maybe 8 cameras.
So we are making some great progress, and the new cameras are much more workable. They're much clearer. Because our current cameras are actually on a coaxial cable. They're not digital. The new ones are digital and just getting them for running. In fact, our senior director he spent Monday aiming the cameras.
I can't imagine how much memory you gotta have to hold all that information and be able to collect it, and store it, and How long do you store that information for?
Yeah.
So the system, it depends on how much you store, but they told us at least 30 to 45 days. Which works for us, if we need to do something, we would pull it off the server and store it in other locations if we needed to keep it, or investigations or something. You're welcome.
Yeah, it's not, turning over Pod D is not just about the physical space, but also that staff are trained to be able to work within the space safely and the procedures. There are there's a unique thing about the new pod is that it has an exceptionally long hallway, and keeping you safe in terms of movements in the hallway. And then the new security systems. The old one I would describe as like a, Lionel train set with switches.
Wait a minute, I like trains.
And the new one's state of the art system. So significant upgrade, but obviously staff and kudos to Ray and his team for getting staff ready to operate Pod D and learning the new security system. It's quite a change, but a good change.
I remember earlier on, you spoke about the number of people who need to sign off on this. It wasn't just the sheriff and the state. How many people got to sign off on this before you move in to make sure it's?
Yeah, there's a lot of bosses. So, I mean,
What do you want?
yeah, well, the two regulating agencies, the town, the sheriff's office.
I
That's
think
that's
those
it.
are our four primaries. That sign off that we're okay.
Thank you.
And it takes two people to operate that.
Two people.
That one. Any other questions?
No, thank you. It was interesting.
Thank you. Okay, item number 8, facility use memo 2415.
Well, Saratoga County gets the gold star again with only 7 bed days used in April and May. You can see the other breakout of facility use, line share being Albany County and the line share of youth being the SSE males. So 45% of the youth in the facility, the bed days, Albany County, 22 and 23% for Schenectady and Rensselaer counties, and only 10% out of county in the past 2 months.
They're all at the track.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's all good, but having very few in there, but it's another record. That's good. Very good. Any other questions? Hearing none. We'll go on to item number 9, RTA capital project update memo 2416.
Yeah, I've attached the most recent field reports and Jill Bain's reports. So highlights for the past period since April, we've had a new chiller installed. You may remember last year we had to spend 40 grand to keep the old chiller limping along. So this one hopefully will last another 25, 30 years. The visitation wing was turned over, currently being used as admin space while the admin wing is being renovated. The door control system, as was mentioned, is largely complete. Staff training is proceeding. The new Sally port is weather tight. So, it's a fully enclosed space that will be heated and climate controlled to provide a more sort of controlled and civilized way to do that transition when you enter the facility. Pod D finishings is almost done. There was a question about screening over the windows. But apparently they're not fixed all the way. Have you guys seen them now that they're fixed all the way?
The both would be installed on Monday, so I got some bridge. Did you see any of with the bottom? screws?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, the facility, and Luke and I were walking through, they seemed to be a little bit loose, like a youth would be able to get them out. But SCOC said they're required, and we'll see that they're hopefully more secured when they put the final row of bolts in.
SCOC is building today to check the screens out.
Okay. So, during an inspection by SCOC of the rec yard, it was determined that the anti-climb fence that was installed was not in fact anti-climb. So that resulted in well, a change order that, and again, we're trying to make the facility look as least like a jail as possible. So obviously razor wire is a very correctional type of thing. But as an interim step, we're gonna be required to put razor wire on top of the fence in the rec yard. Well, at the end of the project, the fencing company will come back, take the razor wire off and install the correct anti-climb fence.
What feature made it anti-climb?
So anti-climb fence, you can't really get your fingers in. So let alone your feet. So it's very thin, like slats. The anti-climb fence that was installed was just a smaller version of chain link. You can clearly get your fingers in and hop right over the fence.
And your age to it.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously a mistake by the architect. But they're covered because they say, well, everyone signed off on it. Everyone signed off on the spec, so. It is what it is, probably $80,000 to $100,000 mistake. The more expensive thing, potentially, is the full replacement of the fire alarm system. So it was not flagged in the design phase by our architects that the existing fire alarm system was not up to code. So around $100,000 change order was issued to be able to bring the entire facility's fire system up to code. So both of those two things impacted the contingency budgets. We still have 48% of our contingency budget remaining across all the prime contractors. And roughly $12.6 million has been dispersed to the primes for construction. And it's about 66% of the work has been completed to date. Pod D will be turned over next week, Monday.
Looking at Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Possibly, potentially, as long as things are all done, as long as everything is certified. It'll be exciting. We're using this. We already had the visitation, but we're using it for other events. This is gonna be a place we're gonna use for like 40.
Right, so we need to have the rec yard completed and certified so that the kids have an egress area. Closing or opening up pod B will enable the renovation in pod dorm C to proceed. So it's a big milestone in the project. Hopefully we get there. Our original schedule was May to turn it over, so we've slipped a little bit, but we'll get there.
Super. Any other questions? No? Hearing none. Item 10, facility operations, agency report. It says Berkshire here.
Oh, yeah,
Get a switch
sorry.
to TFY and then.
Who's running it?
All right,
Right.
as I mentioned earlier, we are 100% in compliance with all of our training for Pod D. We're gonna continue to do refreshers all the way up to the last day, the last minute, when we open Pod D. We also have a transition period for the youths that are gonna be going from Pod C to Pod D, which is gonna make it really smooth. They're gonna get new clothing, new mattresses, so they're not really taking anything from the old area to the new area. So I think that's gonna be a huge, smooth transition. And I think everyone's excited about it. The staff are excited, everybody's trained and ready to go. So I think it's a good period. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we, are able to move in next week.
I'm sure it'll be a good transition.
Yes, definitely.
And how's staffing look nowadays?
Staff are looking good. We've had, last month, we had a lot of staff that were out on medical leave, so we're getting some of those staff back. We've been hiring consistently for all the positions, so I think we're going good with that, and able to get those people that were not in the original training, get them trained up, so, we're looking good. Definitely looking good.
We did move one of our nursing staff to be our nursing supervisor, which is a great move to help organize and make sure our medical suite, having more medical staff is going to be running very smooth. So it's been running very well since we brought them.
And just to add on, which nurses, we should at some point have nurses on for all sheds, yes, which is extremely important in the facility.
Is there any other questions?
Say. I don't remember, but I'll think it before we end.
Okay. Is there any other business that we have? Item 11. Well,
No other business. I don't think we'll be able to meet at the facility. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. I had hoped we were gonna be able to meet the facility today, but logistically, it's kind of a nightmare there. Every square inch of parking lot of every square inch is taken up by somebody somewhere. So getting folks in and out of the facility and parking, which just would not have worked at this time. Maybe the story will change in October, but we'll have to see. But it's an exciting time for the facility. I know people are looking forward to the heavy construction of the additions to be sort of ended. Hopefully that'll mean less personnel be on site, there'll be more space for staff to park. The vendors are still working on mitigating the MS4 permit violation for stormwater runoff that we were sent by the town of Colony, but they're working on it. Kudos to Luke and Ray and their team for, bending over backwards to make sure the project stays on track, to be responsive to what the contractors need, what the construction manager needs in terms of projects. All these little details, require them to create new procedures and other things to make sure that the youth are safe in the facility while the construction is going on. A lot of the temporary walls will be coming down, which is gonna be a good thing. And some other new ones will be going up as the renovation moves around the building. So it's, I think we're in a good spot with the project. We did get a new construction manager from Gilbane, a construction manager that had been working there for a year and a half or so, moved on to another position, but Billy seems to be a good guy. And so that's all I have. You have anything else to add about the project or how staff is dealing with it?
no, not at this time.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I have.
That's it.
Did I miss anything about doing a tour after the D gets opened or?
Well, October, we'll see whether we can have a meeting there, if there's gonna be enough physical space on site to have people park there. But in the interim, we can probably do a tour of the facility, under construction, and I can send out an invitation in the next couple weeks, for that,
For parking probably Monday or Friday.
Monday or Friday. Gotcha.
Best days.
Great. Any other questions? Hearing none, our next meeting is October 16th, 2024. Correct? We can all attend, and do I have a motion to close this meeting?
Make the motion.
Kristen, thank you. Do I hear a second? Laura?
Sam.
Oh, Mitchell, Samantha. Thank you. Dave?
Aye.
Dave, here we go. We will see you in October.
Thank you, everybody.